November 17, 2025. INEC's continuous voter registration is still ongoing, so if you haven't registered yet, this is a good time to do it and get ready to vote. On the news this hour, Super Eagles crash out of 2026 FIFA World Cup. Reactions trail PDP's expulsion of Wike, Fayose, Ayawo, and others. SDP chieftain speaks on governance in River State 2 months after emergency rule. Police arrest secondary school student over an alleged planned cult attack. And on the foreign scene, Trump calls on House Republicans to vote to release Epstein files. Details of these and more after this break. Now let's start the news this morning on a sporting and disappointing note. Nigeria Super Eagles will not be in next year's FIFA World Cup after they crashed out of the playoffs final last night. DR Congo beat the Super Eagles by 4-3 on penalties after the final of the CAF playoffs ended 1-1 in 120 minutes. Nigeria started brightly in the game with Frank Onyeka's deflected shot in the 3rd minute. However, in the 32nd minute, Alex Iwobi lost the ball in midfield and a quick counter-attack resulted in equalizer by Meshach Elia. Victor Osimhen's injury in the game saw Nigeria's play drop, with DR Congo asking almost all the questions, but none of the teams could score again at full time and extra time. Nigeria's Calvin Bassey, Moses Simon, and Semi Ajayi missed their spot kicks, despite 2 brilliant saves from goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali. At the end, their opponent secured Africa's only ticket to the 2026 Intercontinental Playoffs scheduled for March next year. Meanwhile, fans of the Super Eagles are not happy with the team's performance after last night's loss to DR Congo. Some have called on members of the Nigeria Football Federation Executive Committee to resign, while others say some players of the Super Eagles should no longer be a part of the team. We will bring you more reactions in our subsequent bulletins. To politics now, the River State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has rejected the National Convention held in Ibadan, insisting the exercise was unlawful and its outcome unenforceable. Now, in a statement by its publicity secretary, Kenneth Yowika, the chapter praised INEC for staying away, saying the commission acted in line with federal high court orders restraining the PDP from holding the convention. It criticized the party for going ahead to elect new national officials and dissolve state executives despite the court rulings. The Rivers PDP maintains that the convention will be nullified by the court and urges members to remain confident in the judicial process. However, Robinson Ewo, the factional party chairman loyal to Governor Fubara, attended the convention with some party chieftains. All effort by our correspondent to speak with him have not been successful. Well, earlier, the faction of the PDP that conducted the convention made big decisions at its national convention in Ibadan, expelling FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose, National Secretary Samuel Ayawo, the party's legal advisor Kamaldeen Ajibade, Austin Ifechukwu, and several others. The party insisted it is over what it describes as anti-party activities. Party leaders took the decision unanimously at Saturday's convention. Chieftain Bode George moved the motion and the Bauchi State PDP chairman seconded it. The party also dissolved all its structures in Rivers, Imo, Abia, Enugu, and Akwa Ibom State. But not everyone is on board with the expulsions. Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Fintiri, who also chairs the 2025 elective national convention, says the move is not in the party's best interest. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang also insists the expulsion was neither discussed nor endorsed by the Governors Forum or the NEC. Interestingly, while the expulsion was being announced, Wike was in Lagos attending Ayo Fayoshe's 65th birthday celebration. He described Fayoshe as a reliable ally and praised his wife for standing by him. Vice President Kashim Shettima and former Senate President Bukola Saraki were also at the event. Meanwhile, the PDP now has a new national chairman, Kabiru Turaki, former Minister of Special Duties and a senior advocate of Nigeria. He won with 1,516 votes, defeating Senator Yakubu Damarke, who scored 275. Delegates from 17 states took part in the exercise. The convention also had several top party figures in attendance, including Governor Sheyi Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Dauda Lawal, and others. But the governors of Rivers, Osun, and Taraba were absent. Still on the PDP convention, political analyst Sam Amadi says the exercise remains valid despite earlier conflicting court orders. Speaking on Arise News, he explains that the most recent court ruling before the convention allowed it to proceed, overriding earlier contradictory orders. Now, he also notes that while due process is important, questions around party loyalty cannot be ignored. You may recall that on Friday, a federal high court in Abuja ordered the PDP not to go ahead with the convention until former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido is allowed to buy a nomination form for national chairmanship. And looking ahead, Taraba State Governor Abu Kefas is expected to formally defect to the APC on Wednesday. His move will bring the number of PDP governors who have switched to the APC to 5 in recent months, joining the Deltas, Akwa Ibom, Enugu, and Bayelsa State's governors. Back home, a chieftain of the Social Democratic Party, Soswema Osaro, is reacting to concerns that governance in Rivers State seems slow 2 months after the end of emergency rule. As you may know, Governor Fubara has yet to form a full cabinet, and the House of Assembly has met only twice since returning from suspension. Osaro says the emotional and physical strain from the 6-month suspension may be responsible for the slow pace. He insists governors shouldn't be rushed after such a tense period and believes both arms of government can still achieve a lot.
The political actors, the executive, the assembly may have passed through a lot, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So I think it will be a gradual process. It's not as if nobody is working. But I think with what everyone passed through, it will be a gradual process, to get back on track fully. So it's ideal to allow and all that has to get healed gradually so that they will swim in one pool.
He expressed confidence that more progress is possible as the administration settles fully into work.
I wouldn't advocate holiness in any shape. If you recall that 2 years prior to when the emergency was declared, the executive were up and doing. So naturally, let the process flow with harmony, flow with gradual rebuilding, so that the people will still have or feel the dividends of democracy. Yeah, we still have a year plus before the end of the administration. But even within a year, a lot can still happen that will impact on the people positively.
Well, away from that, the chairman of Ikwere local government area, Charles Wobodo, says his administration is taking decisive steps to tackle land grabbing and other forms of land encroachment across communities in the area. Wobodo disclosed that in the coming days, the council will inaugurate an anti-land grabbing committee to handle land-related disputes. He says the committee will be responsible for receiving petitions from individuals whose lands have been grabbed or encroached upon.
If you know they have grabbed your land, after we get them by Tuesday, Wednesday, bring your petition. We are not going to leave that in mind. You cannot come to the local government and take away people's land. The land is really know how it come about. You want to come and grab. We will not allow that.
Still to come, police arrest secondary school students over a planned cult attack. Stay with us.
On 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. The FRSC in Rivers State is supporting the federal government's plan to ban sachet alcoholic drinks nationwide from January 1st, 2026. Sector Commander Iyang Umo tells our correspondent in Kachimusu that the Corps will step up its campaigns against the sale and consumption of sachet drinks inside motor parks.
Do that campaign, enlighten people, discourage people to taking alcohol, especially at the park, before some driver enter the steering. So we have been doing that. It's what we call morning cry, and we go to parks and talk to people about it. As a core, as a body, we are happy. If NAFDAC are able to succeed in banning the use of such a drink, so we are in support of it.
Umo also outlines the penalties awaiting drivers caught drinking and driving this festive season.
We have what we call alcoholizer, and it's a level of alcohol content that somebody will have in his blood. It's beyond that, we are booked. And we also do a kind of physical test. So aside that, we also use fertilizer to test those who are on alcohol.
On the delays in issuing driver's licenses, he says the Corps is working to improve the process so applicants get their licenses within a reasonable time.
We are working towards that. But the issue, the Commission has addressed the public that we are going to do away with the temporary license. As soon as you go process your license, you get it immediately. So we are in that process, and very soon we'll get over it. And recently, some of the centers, the backlog, we got about 4,000 licenses have been produced, and we are still doing that. Very soon, I believe that we'll get over that backlog, and the court has started something that the whole thing will be over.
Well, the NDLEA chairman Mohammed Marwa is warning drug barons and traffickers to quit the illegal trade or face tougher times. He thanked President Bola Tinubu for reappointing him and urged those involved in drug trafficking to abandon the business. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has explained why some students are experiencing delays or different payment date for their upkeep allowances. Managing Director of Nelfund, Akitunde Sawyer, says the variations are due to when students apply, how fast their institutions process documentation, and the fact that the program is still evolving. Now, in Edo State, police have arrested 21 secondary school students for allegedly planning a violent court attack. The students reportedly circulated a voice note threatening to burn down a school and harm students and staff. Police spokesperson Moses Yamu says knives and chains were recovered. 8 of the suspects have now been remanded, while 13 were released to their parents and guardians. Away from that, President Bola Tinubu has sent an emissary to Plateau State as part of renewed effort to restore peace and strengthen intercommunal harmony. His aide on community engagement, Dr. Abiodun Esiet, spent 2 days meeting Christian leaders, Fulani communities, traditional rulers, and youth groups to reinforce grassroots peace structures. The visit included town hall sessions, workshops on community peace frameworks, and closed-door meetings with groups like the Irigwe community and the Etiala to strengthen an existing 17-member peace committee. Esiet restated the president's commitment to peace, inclusive governance, and long-term stability in Plateau and the wider North Central region. Presidential aide Bayo Onanoga says the engagement have already yielded results, including the resolution of a dispute between a Jos farmer and some herdsmen after the Macban chairman in Bassa paid 500,000 naira compensation. We move straight to business now. The president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Kene Nzekwe, says weak legislation and poor political will are the main reasons quackery remains widespread in Nigeria's construction sector. In entertainment, singer D'banj says producer Don Jazzy was fully responsible for their split at Mohit's record. Speaking on the mic on podcast with Shehu Okimbaloye, he says he doesn't regret the breakup but misses working with Don Jazzy.
And now we bring you news from around the world.
U.S. President Donald Trump is now urging House Republicans to vote for the release of the Epstein files, reversing his earlier position. His shift comes as dozens of Republicans signal they are ready to break ranks ahead of a House vote on legislation that would force the Justice Department to make the records public. The bill, known as the Epstein Files Transparency Act, appears to have enough support to pass the House, though its fate in the Senate remains uncertain and Trump would still need to approve it. Trump posted his new stance after returning from Florida, insisting the Justice Department has already released thousands of pages and saying Republicans should get back on point. His comments also reference ongoing investigations into Epstein's alleged links with major banks and several prominent Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton, who has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Well, that's the news, but just before we go, here is a look at the headlines once again. We told you how Nigeria Super Eagles crashed out of 2026 FIFA World Cup after a 4-3 penalty loss to DR Congo. And you also heard reactions after a faction of the PDP conducted a convention over the weekend and expelled FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Fayose, Ayawo, and others. You heard an SDP chieftain speak on governance in Rivers State 2 months after emergency rule. The news was edited by Ufoma Ebamono. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Ifechukwu Muonyili. Many thanks for listening.